welcome to Scorched Earth and the general reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of November 2021, if you can believe that. I'm using the Llewellyn tarot for you today. There will be an extended at the end of this if it resonates and you would like to go a little bit deeper. That'll be the first link in the description box, and the 6-month overview that I did for each of the signs is the second link. I've knocked it down even further now, so if you hadn't had a chance to look at it, it's just basically pence now, so go and have a look, because we still do have a couple of months of this year left and there's a lot going on. You know, to wit, you should be aware that the energy over the next few weeks particularly is going to be very, very intense. But like I said in the 6-month overview, everything that is going on outside of you at this point is a distraction, right? Take that intense energy and direct it inwards, because that's, just dropped a card and it's the 6 of Wands, that's where the victory is to be found for you, right? Like, step back from everything that's happening outside of you and concentrate on you. So let's have a look for you, Taurus. Now 3 cards for Taurus, please. First one, recent past. Oh, I've got 2. We have the 2 of Pentacles and we have the Strength card, the card of Leo in the major arcana. How about current energy, please, for Taurus? Queen of Wands. I like to see this for you, Taurus. It's associated with Aries. And as I record this, we're about to have an Aries full moon tomorrow night. Unlikely, I think that you will get some benefit from it. But anyway, let's get one more card. What's coming towards Taurus, please? Oh, we have 2. We have Death and we have the Empress. It's a really strong combination there, Scorpio and Taurus for me. I like this. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Queen of Cups, Cancer energy. Lots of queens here. You say because the Empress is the archetypal mother, but she is also the Queen of Queens, so she embodies all of the characteristics of all of the queens. So you've got quite some intense feminine energy going on with you at the moment. Let's get you some clarifiers, and we'll see what this is all about. So, clarify death, strength on the 2 of Pentacles, please. We have the 2 of Swords. Whoop. We also have the 2 of Pentacles again and the World. Okay. Tell me about the Queen of Wands, please. Thank you. We have the Hanged Man. Queen of Wands. Thank you. And Justice. Look at the major arcana that's starting to come out here, Taurus. Holy shit. Tell me about Death and the Empress. We have the Ace of Cups. Absolutely fitting. After seeing Death there. Death and the Empress, please. We have the Hermit. Virgo energy, the major arcana again, and the Knight of Swords. Wow. We've got the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. Gemini energy, just as the Knight of Swords is here, actually. And it's a card for me of conscious co-creation. So what is it that you are wanting to build, Taurus? Because I feel like this is what you're moving towards here. There are things that are in your existence right now that are not, they're not bearing the fruit that you want, right? And I think as a result of the work that you have done over the last 2 years, you've got much better at being able to you know, pinpoint where these things are. We've got the Ace of Pentacles behind it, which I love to see for Taurus anyway. It's like, do you need all of these? Like, is this giving you the harvest that you want, or is it time to start again? And I think in some ways, Taurus, it's time to start again. It's about gathering up your energy and putting it in a different direction. And the Lovers card is asking you where it is that you want to direct it. What is the life that you want to create for yourself here? Because although the Tower card is not here, I can feel it. It's kind of swirling around somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in the Vimeo, to be honest. But the combinations of cards that we've got going on together. Somebody getting their Tesco delivery. is pushing you towards a kind of transformation, the like of which you usually see after a tower has hit. And like I said right at the beginning, the energy in the next few weeks is going to be intense as fuck. So it's a kind of a case of, you know, strap down and get ready for that. If you can take all of that energy and direct it inwards, the kind of transformation that is being spoken about here in November is entirely possible for you. And I think you're ready for it, because the cards that we've got here at the beginning, the Strength and the Two of Pentacles there, do kind of indicate to me that things have been a little bit rocky of late. The Two of Pentacles for me is actually the card that seems to vary the most between tarot decks. I'll say this every time it comes out, right? Except because I'm using the Llewellyn and the Rider-Waite. They're virtually identical, which is interesting in and of itself. It suggests there's exactly the same sort of power is at play here. And seriously, for fuck's sake. We'll just shut that window, right? Look at the emotional maelstrom that's going on behind this character here. You know, they're standing on one leg at the end of what appears to be a jetty and in the middle of a storm, right? An emotional storm, because that's what water, you know, signifies in the tarot there. And this is you holding on. This is you doing the things that you need to do, but it feels perilous. We've got the Strength card here, also with water on it, which is really unusual for a Strength card, because obviously it's fire element, it's Leo, right? This card indicates growth. We see that a lot. Spiritual growth, emotional growth, all those sorts of things. And it speaks about empowerment too. But the way that the Strength card becomes activated, you know, when it's here, is through endurance more than anything else, right? So when I see this card, and then know that you've had to draw on reserves of strength that have been built up through suffering adverse, you know, situations throughout your life, right? Much like the weed that pops up through the tarmac, you know, nature just takes over. Compared to something, say, like an orchid that needs, you know, a very specific kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Moisture content, and humidity, there you go. It needs a particular humidity and it has to be kept at a particular heat, and it needs to be watered just the right amount, not too much, not too little, otherwise the whole thing's going to fall over, right? It is not built to survive in adverse situations, whereas you have been being guided through the kind of levels of strength that you need to move forwards, to push forwards and to create something new for yourself. Because nothing is ever easy, unfortunately. And the emphasis is very much on the internal space for you. Like I said, we've got the Two of Pentacles there, but we have it again here with the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords, it can be a decision that needs to be made by you, right? But I often interpret it as willful ignorance, willful kind of a willful refusal to engage with a decision-making process, a willful refusal to look at a certain thing. You know, she is blindfolded, she's got her back to the sea, she's got her back to the moon. What is it that you have not been looking at? Well, the way that these Two of Pentacles are appearing here, it seems likely that what you're not looking at is something that you know might be inherently destabilizing. And at the moment, you're just trying to concentrate on keeping all the pentacles up in the air, you know? But we do have the World card here. And it's got the 4 fixed signs on it, and you're one of them. There's Leo and Aquarius and Scorpio as well. And it indicates a graduation. A oneness, actually, of sorts. I was reading yesterday of this idea that the World card was actually symbolic of the Magician and the High Priestess coming together. You know, we have this woman here, and she's naked, but for the purple banner thing, ribbon that she's got around herself. She has a wand in each hand. Now, being representative of the feminine, as you would expect with the High Priestess, so intuition, you know, very, very strong, chaotic feminine wisdom, you know, the darkness, the yin, to the yang, the passive. But with the magician's wand, you know, the ability to be able to create things into existence. The coming of the two together is a very, very powerful thing. Because it's a balance of sorts. But it does also indicate completion. It indicates an end. And so to it, there we've got there an end to the struggle. Actually, Taurus, I'm just going to put it there, the struggle. And you might have been struggling in all sorts of ways. You know, I think there's been a kind of slightly lonely vibe going on for some of the signs at the moment. And I feel like Taurus might be one of them. Although things on one level are going quite well, it's almost like there's still a churning chaos inside. And that is a lonely place to inhabit, because it's a difficult thing to try and explain to other people, you know. But it suggests to me that it's coming to an end. Here, right? Because we're moving your present energy to the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands, like I said, was Aries energy. It's very visible, it's very confident, it's very here and now, as all of the wand suit is, you know. But we've got more of this feminine energy, and it pervades your entire reading, Taurus. There are deep insights that are coming to you here. So on the one hand, whilst you may be feeling slightly lonely and slightly isolated and a little bit sort of cast adrift in some ways, it's exactly the energy that you need to be in order to provide that focus and turn it inwards on yourself, because other people are distracting, frankly. They're super distracting, and maybe that's why you wanted them around, because what you're having to look at here is something that you don't want to look at, you know. We've got the Hanged Man and we've got Justice. Now this is a really interesting combination, and it came up, where did it come up in my reading? So I think it might have come up in a reading that I did for myself. It was. I was having a conversation with the cards. And what came up was this idea of changing your perspective on what justice and fairness actually means. It's interesting because it did come up in another signs reading for the mid-months as well, towards the end. Might have been Leo, might have been someone else, right? I can't remember. Changing your perspective on what justice means. And what do I mean by that? Well, we all feel like we have an idea of what justice is. And justice, personally, is often us being given that which we want, right? Or those things that we don't want just being taken out of our life. And it's like, yes, because we're all the protagonists in our own stories, right? And we want to be the hero. And, you know, the hero suffers adversities, but in the end, you know, they win through and it's all cool. That's the story that we tell ourselves. And so when things are protracted and difficult for a long time, we end up having these kind of conversations with ourselves, like, why is this happening to me? This, I don't understand. Like, what have I done to deserve this? I don't deserve this. Some of you, I can't remember if it was in a Taurus reading that I was talking, I certainly brought it up in a couple because it was very much on point. I was having a conversation with my daughter a few weeks ago, and she'd had a run of kind of shitty luck. And she said, why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this. And I said, well, no, you don't. But let's just step back from this a minute, right? It's not about whether you deserve things or you don't deserve things. Let's cast all notions of those aside. You are simply just having an experience at this time. Now, what are you going to do with this experience? You know, what have you learned from this experience moving forwards? Because the only thing that dictates whether this is a good or a bad situation is the way that you approach it, right? It is taking personal responsibility for it, for sure. And I'm not talking about the cult of positivity where you're just like, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, because that's really damaging, right? That's not a useful thing. Sometimes things are wrong and you have to stop and turn around and look at them. But you need to look at them in the right way. And I think that that is what you are doing here. Right? We've got Libra energy and Pisces energy. As I speak, we've got Mars in Libra at the moment, which is causing quite a bit of this tension that we can feel going on at the moment. And it's likely that there are ways that you want to just change things. Right? I just want to change things. It's very big Mars energy, right? It's got to do it right now. But without necessarily knowing how it is that you're going to change it, or whether it's a good idea to change it. You know, what this is telling me is that it's a good idea for you to stop and step back. Right? Reassess everything. And I think that's what you are doing. Actually, Taurus. Because sometimes justice, sometimes fairness, is you learning a really difficult lesson so that you don't repeat it again in the future. Sometimes the way that you bring balance to yourself is through no movement whatsoever. Now, it's interesting that this has come out under the Queen of Wands here, because the wand suit is given to govern, you know, movement, activity of any sort, you know, living experience. But the wisdom of the Queen is knowing when to move and when not to move, just like the King in that respect. You know, the Page and the Knight can be quite impetuous, and they do first and think later, whereas with wisdom and maturity and experience, the King and the Queen know that you pick your battles. And this is the message, Taurus. It's pick your battles. Make sure that your thoughts are coming from the right place. Make sure that your understanding of any situation that you are in is coming from the right place. And that is not just justice, first and foremost. I want this thing. I must have this thing. I want this change in my life. I have to have this, you know. Maybe even just, you know, attachment to result. You know, what is it that you have fixated on that you need, and then everything will be better? Because the chances are, even if that did happen, it wouldn't fix the issue because it's all in here. This is pick your battles. Step back. Know when to move and when not to move. I'm going to pull another card for this because I'm really, really nosy, and it just feels like I should. Tell me about this Hangman, please. Thank you. We've got the Three of Cups and we've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've also got the Four of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Now, that's my meditation card. It's a card of peace. It's a card of processing. It's a card of getting all your thoughts in the right order. It's a card of stepping back too. And it seems like this is what you want to do. It's making sure that you're looking at something objectively, so that then you can apply this wisdom of the Queen that you have and know when to move and know when not to move. Oh, fucking hell. I just bring you to the two shadow cards that are at the bottom of the Llewellyn there. We've got the Queen of Cups. Like I said, that's Cancer energy. But sitting right behind that is the Ace of Pentacles. Again, this notion that there are new things coming in. There are seeds waiting to be planted, but you must first prepare the ground. And what you are going through at the moment, and what you will be going through over the next few weeks, is about really doing the groundwork on this ground, so that when you come to plop your little pentacle in it there, it grows in a way that actually does yield something useful for you, unlike where it appeared here, where it's the Seven of Pentacles. You know, so this might be looking at where you're putting your energy, but it feels that it has so much of its basis on your internal space that it's a little less about what you're doing and more about what you're thinking, when you're thinking it. It's kind of asking you to just pause before you react to anything. You know, we've covered this a lot, Taurus. You know a lot of this, but I feel like what goes on over the next few weeks is so intense, and there's so much information that it's almost overwhelming, that it's a huge distraction, right? So stop, come back and address these things, because the Queen of Cups is all about receiving. She is water of water. Queens are water, cups are water. She's the most receptive card in the court hierarchy. And I heard when I looked at it, you know, what is for you won't go by you. There's nothing here that you have to work too hard at outside of you. All of the work is internal, much like the Queen of Cups would suggest that it's all internal work. Getting ready for an Ace of Pentacles, a new things coming in, potentially, but new seeds being sown in here and in here about where you put your energy. So instead of overthinking things, instead of, you know, looking at something 15 different ways to work out how you're supposed to crack this nut, notice the fact that you're feeling that need to find a way to crack the nut in the first place, and then address that. You know, where are you being too fixed about things? Where do you need to allow a little bit of fluidity to come in to proceedings? Where do you need to trust that what's for you won't go by you? And then act accordingly. Or even not act accordingly, you know, like take no action whatsoever. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles down here. Again, we've got the Three of Cups. Now the Three of Cups is about emotional support networks for me. It's about the people that you surround yourself with. But it's interesting in the John Bauer, because we have in the middle this shining princess. It's an extraordinary deck. I love this. And I'm getting a similar message here that I'm getting from the Queen of Wands, because look how she stands out, like in amongst the people that she's with. The Queen of Wands accepts that. She knows that. She doesn't really give it a second thought, but it's something that Taurus often struggle with. Because what it's coming down to, again, as ever, is your own sense of personal worth. If you're feeling lonely at the moment, it's because you need to take that energy and you need to pour it back into you. You know, if you are feeling somewhat disempowered, you need to stop and have a look and see how far you have come already. You know, what you have endured, how you have developed and grown, particularly over the last few years, and accept that. Right? Don't just stick it in the corner and go, well, yeah, but, you know, really accept that and feel that. Because you shine with a light all of your own, Taurus, and I think that you forget that all the time. You know, even this Ace of Pentacles here, I love the fact that there's a little child pulling this like giant ram type creature along here. Look at this, it's huge. It's kind of bull-like in proportions, you know. And for some of you, perhaps it's time to have a sit down and consider the possibility that your inner child, that bit of you that tries to, you know, keep you safe at all costs, where they're perhaps deciding where it is that you go. You know, maybe the bull needs to, the ram, whatever this is, needs to stop gently, just pick the child up and stick it on its back and go, it's okay, like, I know this ground really, really well. I can cover this ground really, really well if you get on my back instead of me just trotting along behind you. Because as the bull or the ram or whatever it is, like, this signifies your wisdom, your experience, your age, what you have learned. You know, just hoy it up onto your back and go, come with me, kid, I'm about to send you on an adventure, or attend an adventure with you. Now, when it comes to November, it's intense. It's like, let's not fuck about here. Like, the energy that you're in at the moment, that you have been in for the last couple of weeks and that you are headed into, is intense as fuck. You know, we're going into Scorpio season right now. Traditionally, a very intense time of year anyway. We're going to have, certainly in the UK, I don't know if you observe daylight savings in the States. You do in some of the States, I remember, from National Treasure. Yeah, right, the film with Nick Cage. But here, towards the, I think it was the last weekend in October, we turn our clocks back and then suddenly we are plunged into darkness. You know, daylight doesn't last very long. It'll be dark by 4 o'clock, you know, and it doesn't get light till 8. It's pretty intense, and it indicates the changing of the season. It indicates that period of winter that we are going into. It's a transformation of state, right? From being outdoors and enjoying the warmth to knowing that things are going to get cold and things are going to get kind of difficult over winter. And between you and me, they are going to get difficult over winter, so, you know, just bear that in mind. Get yourself a few extra blankets and whatnot. But what we have here is a transformation of you. and you alone. It's not about your external circumstances. There's not a card on the table here that speaks to your external, which is not to say that you are just going to be stuck doing the same thing that you're doing right now for the next 4 months. I don't feel that for you at all. It feels like a very sophisticated and very nuanced change in the way that you are perceiving, the way that you appear in the world. And more, being able to see yourself the way that other people see you. Just getting an insight into that, because you don't see how you shine. You don't see how you set a light for other people. You know, it's that quote. It might even be Rumi, I think. You know, when things are dark and you can't see the light, you know, have a look around and have a look at yourself, because the chances are that you are the light. And look how you stick out in that card. Queen of Wands, sticking out right there. It's all about you. You're not just the queen, Taurus, you're the queen of queens. Right here. And this whole process is teaching you to see that in yourself, so that you will bear yourself accordingly, right? And a queen does not go around, you know, blaming other people for stuff. Don't think that you do, but, you know, just in case. She takes responsibility for things. She doesn't take just responsibility for herself. She takes responsibility for her subjects too, right? And then we've got that herd energy coming in. But the Empress is all about abundance and fertility and all of these good things. So she's sometimes depicted as pregnant because there is something new being birthed into the world here. Oh. Now she's ruled by Venus. And Venus is doing some sort of interesting transit, I think, of Mars. And I had not realised that there was this duality to Venus, that she is both warrior and, you know, kind of like Aphrodite type as well. It was a duality that I wasn't aware of up until a couple of days ago, and I came across something and I was like, that's cool as shit, that's really, really cool. But again, this is what is being created in you, or rather having your eyes open to the fact that you contain it. You are both warrior and goddess, and I don't care if you're male or female, right? We're talking about energetic presentation here. You are both of these things, and it is possible for you to be both of those things and to be extraordinarily aware of it, you know. Because everything over the course of the next few weeks, and like I said, it started a few weeks ago, is about showing you your worth, showing you your wisdom, showing you that you can be your own internal light. You know, look, the star sat in the lamp of the hermit right there. The hermit is all about going within. And this is what I want you to do, Taurus. I absolutely want you to do. I want you to go in and start looking for these big answers to things. I want you to start looking at where, you know, your sense of understanding, your sense of perspective about what has happened to you can shift to a position that welcomes the knowledge that has come with the lessons of endurance. I'm showing you that you are strong, that you know that you're strong in so many ways, but there are a couple of small but very distinct areas where you struggle to see yourself for who you are. And I think that some people will show you outside of you for sure, but this is all about you developing that self-generating care for yourself, love for yourself, setting the boundary with the world. This is how I feel about myself, and I will only accept it in those people who, you know, observe this about me and respect it about me. If you're kind of sitting in a state of going, well, I don't deserve this, I don't, you know, it's not a state of empowerment. And all you're doing is bringing more of that experience towards you, where you can learn to shift your perspective and go, actually, I didn't enjoy it, but I've learned an awful lot of things about this. And I've seen that actually I'm incredibly strong and I can survive stuff. And so when new challenges come towards me, I'm not going to just freak out. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go, okay, what's the lesson here? You know, what is the lesson here? And we've got this Knight of Swords, which is Gemini energy. And the Knight of Swords is rushing in here too. Right? The Knight of Swords wants a bit of this Ace of Cups. It's coming with the Hermit. And it's often about communication, right? It's about conversations that you could have with other people, but this feels like an internal conversation with you. How can you facilitate the growth that is being highlighted for you here? Tell me about this Knight of Swords. Why are they here? Hanged Man and the Three of Wands. Right? The Hanged Man. Oh, you've got strength at the bottom of the deck here. The Hanged Man, like I said, is the most passive card in the tarot. Right? And it can indicate a lack of movement. The Three of Wands is about movement. We're back to picking your battles, knowing when to move and when not to move. Because ultimately, that sort of shit can win or lose a war. You know, you send your men off too early and they fall at the first hurdle. You know, and others such like, you know, Sun Tzu kind of observations. But as energy, the Knight of Swords is almost frenetic. It's the fastest knight in the deck because it's about the way that the mind moves. And we've said this before, you know, the subconscious mind works something like 4 times faster than the conscious mind, and in some situations it can move up to 20 times faster. So any kind of decision that you think you are making consciously, subconsciously you already made it, and you made it, you know, some considerable time before. But there's an alignment here. Everybody's moving in the same direction. And they're all moving towards this Ace of Cups. Death, even above these cards here, is moving towards the Ace of Cups. The Hermit card, the Knight of Swords, the Three of Wands is looking in that direction. Again, the next few weeks are going to be intense. You're going to need those reserves of strength to get through it. But please do remember, what is outside of you is a distraction at this point. It's pulling you away from your own very, very important work, because it is necessary for you to know exactly who you are, Taurus, moving forwards. You know, I've made no secret of the fact that intuitively I feel like we are in for a very, very rough ride between here and at least 2023, but actually 2025. And those who will fall are those who don't know when to move, who are scared to move, or who are scared to stand still. This is about you discerning which is which, you know. Scorpio season is always intense and always indicates a level of self-work anyway. You know, it's this kind of time of year is traditional for shadow work because the nights are drawing in, you know, and whatnot. But in addition to what is going on astrologically, it seems to me that submitting to this energy and allowing it to show you what needs to be seen at this point is what is going to help you move forwards, even if it does feel slightly challenging as it's happening. I mean, with the cards that are here, with the amount of major arcana that is here, I think that you will exhaust yourself if you try and fight it. For sure. Let it show you what is going on, because whether it is through spiritual downloads, whether it is through conversations that you might have with someone, whether it's a song on the radio, there is a lot of information that is about to appear for you, Taurus, and all of it needs to be applied inwardly for you to be able to make sense of it. Right, I am going to leave it here because I'm going to go over to Vimeo and pull this apart a little bit. So if you would like to join me over there, feel free. Like I said, that's the first link in the description box. If not, no shade, not a problem at all. I will see you next time. And just be kind to yourself. Above all, at this point, be kind to yourself. And if you can allow a bit of flexibility, a little bit of fluidity in on your thinking, you'll reap enormous benefits from it, Taurus. Right. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.